Everyone, Melissa from Melissa vs. Fibromyalgia here. I hope you're well. I have just been thinking about things that they don't tell you about because I don't know how many people think, like when they're on their journey to wellness, what it's like in the middle. And there are some strange things that happen in the middle. So I have come a long way. I was quite unwell 10, 12 years ago. And I would have been moderate towards severe on the fibromyalgia impact questionnaire rating scale. My symptoms were very high every single day. I had no respite whatsoever. And over the past 12 years, I've really come a long way. And now I'm around mild on the fibromyalgia impact questionnaire rating scale. And we're hoping that after my operation to remove the endometriosis, that I will be hopefully even better. But one thing they don't tell you about being at this point in your journey is how hard it is to maintain it. So you have to fight tooth and nail to maintain a lifestyle that manages the sympathetic nervous system dominance, the pain, the fatigue, the insomnia. Like, I can sleep now and it is amazing, and I will always be grateful, but there is a lot I have to do to be able to have that. So for example, I've got to be careful in the day that I don't overdo it. I've got to make sure I have a yoga nidra rest break so that I'm not overtired at bedtime. And then I have to start taking my medicine around 8:30, and I take 3 different things, and I've noticed you can't take them all at once. So I've got to take them around 20 minutes apart, because for some reason, if I take them all at once, it just doesn't work the same. So I take my recovery factors supplement, then I take my quetiapine, and then I take my low-dose naltrexone. And then I hop into bed, use my heat pack, and read for a little bit to wind down. And then I usually do some breath work or a body scan meditation to drop off to sleep. And I'll wake up once or twice in the night, probably put the electric heating pad on, but I'll go right back to sleep. And it's wonderful. But that's a lot of things to do to make sure I get that sleep, right? Like, there's a lot of bits and pieces that go into it. And the same thing happens with like managing the pain and the fatigue and the overall lifestyle. Like, there's a lot I have to do, and I have to fight tooth and nail for it. I have to be really careful and really protective of it. So it's like a full-time job to maintain this. And myself, like, I'm the biggest person to fight against. I have to be really careful. I have to remind myself that sometimes you lose sight and you forget, and then you cause yourself a flare, because it's really hard to just always be on guard and careful. And then, you dip your toe in the waters to see if you can manage a bit more, but oops, you can't. And then when you get another situation going on like the endometriosis, you just get so frustrated, and so you just push it all the time and make it worse. But also sometimes you're fighting other people. You're fighting other people in your life because you've had a taste of what it feels like to feel better. And there is no way in hell you're going back to what it was, because what it was not living. And you have to protect it. And sometimes that puts you at odds with the people in your life. And so sometimes the people in your life see how good you are, but maybe don't quite recognize how much work you have to do to maintain that. And they push you. And maybe they don't understand. And so then you're fighting against them as well. So you have this like full-time job to manage your body. You still have symptoms that are going on all the time, so that's a thing. And you still have life, and if you're at my stage of life, then you've got responsibilities. You've got kids and work and house and whatever else. But then you've got this other thing where you have to protect yourself and stand up for yourself, and that can be really difficult. That is actually something I come up against a lot, and it is really hard to explain. Okay, so I'm loads better than I was 10 years ago, but only because I do all of these things all the time. And sometimes it doesn't all work, and sometimes I crash. Sometimes the endometriosis takes over and I can do not a thing. But that's a really hard thing as well, and I think there's just obviously no resources about this place in the middle where you're on your way, you're nearly there, you're trying, you're not in remission, but you're a lot better than you were, but you're doing all the things to manage it. Like, I don't think there's many people talking about that. Maybe because they're busy trying to do all the things, they can't talk about it, right? And so I think it's good to have a conversation about it. Is this something you struggle with? How do you deal with it? Let me know, because I think that's something we can share together. My approach is always to communicate and to be honest, but sometimes it just misses. You just can't get it. And so sometimes you are out there protecting yourself and people don't get it. Like, there's a very big example. I have said that I can't go to India next January for 4 weeks with 4 small children, because it will be within 6 months of my operation. And although the hardest part physically will be over, we don't know what situation I'll be in. We have no idea what things will go because it was endometriosis, what things will be fibro, what things will be stirred up. And I've never been to a place like that before. I am heat intolerant, and I'm really hoping that after the operation I'm not, because we'll get rid of a heap of inflammation, and I'm hoping that's the cause of that. But all those things I need to do to help me sleep, you can't do that when you're going and surrendering yourself upon family that you've never met before, and you're staying in a 2 or 3 bedroom apartment, and you're bringing 4 children with you. Like, there's just too many things you can't control. And the last thing you want to do is risk going really far backwards. Plus, like, what do you say to your job? Okay, I'm going to have a 6-month leave of absence because I've got to have a serious operation, and then I'm just going to disappear overseas. But that's a decision that I know in my heart is important, and actually I've talked it over with my medical team, and they agree that it is important, and it is not a good time to do that. And that's putting me at odds. Like, it's hard to explain to people. People just cannot understand that, and I think that's where one would beg that you would give us the benefit of the doubt, right? Like, trust me that I'm telling you the right things, and that I'm not just factoring in myself in this conversation, right? Like, if I got really, really sick, someone has to help look after me. And then who's looking after the children if people are looking after me? It's a whole thing. But those are the kinds of things that come up when you're in this weird middle ground. And I don't have any answers yet, and I haven't seen any resources about it. So let me know. Can you share your best tips for me? And yeah, let's have a conversation around it, and just share the experience. I think this is a little bit of one where we're treading new ground, but it is surprising. So those are my most surprising things, like at this point in my journey, like how I can be so well at times, but I've still got to do all the things. I can't let it go. And how much I fight myself and how much I have to fight others. So let me know what your experience is, and hopefully I can share some good learning with you soon as I learn more about this.